challenging, presents difficulty or obstacles, either intellectually, physically, emotionally, or in some other aspect. It implies a situation or task that requires effort, skill, and perseverance to overcome. Challenges can vary greatly in nature, and facing challenges often leads to growth, learning, and development.
Welcome to the 2023 Super Retriever Series Crown Championship presented by Eukanuba. Hello everyone, I'm your host David Hamilton alongside our analyst Rody Best, and we have an action-packed show for you full of the best dog and handler teams in the world. Rody, it is a pleasure to be sitting here with you today.
Thanks, David. It's really a pleasure to be here to talk dogs with you.
Let's talk some dogs. Both today and next week, we'll focus on the amateur division, and we'll even have our amateur champion here in studio with us next week. Now, before we get into the competition itself, let's set the scene a little bit. This year's Crown Championship in Shreveport, Bossier City, Louisiana. Some great grounds for some dog competitions.
Indeed. You really can't think of a better place to showcase the talents of these super retrievers. They've got great hospitality and exceptional grounds.
Only the best of the best, though, make it to the Crown Championship. So how did these dog and handler teams qualify?
Well, it's a long journey of ups and downs. These dogs travel the country for 12 months, training, preparing, and running events. And basically, they've got to accumulate enough points to qualify for this big Crown Championship.
And once they get to this event in Louisiana, how does it break down? There's 5 series. For those who are watching at home, just tell us a little overview of the competition.
Well, all 94 dog and handler teams will participate in the first 2 series, assuming they don't disqualify or cannot finish the test. After the second series, they'll cut to a top 18, both pros and AMs. And then after the third series, they'll cut to 12, and then the final and 5th series is the Super 6 of AMs and pros.
Let's talk Series 1. Describe the test to us.
The first series of the 2023 SRS Championship is an AKC-style hunt test. After signaling ready, mark 1 on the left is an easy bird flasher, which is black and white, thrown right to left and lands 160 yards out. Mark number 2, an easy bird mallard on the right, is thrown right to left also and lands 125 yards out. The handler must know his dog off these 2 marks and run a 226-yard blind. After picking up the blind, the team then picks up the marks in any order.
So, Rody, let's talk about the faults or point system. In this game, you want the fewest points, similar to golf, correct?
That is correct.
Now, what are the judges looking for when they penalize you and give you these fault infractions?
Well, the most standard points are 2 points and 5 points, and those things are things like whistles and cast refusals and whistle refusals. And the big ones are 10 points and 20 points. Most handlers want to avoid handling to an area, which is 20 points.
Awesome. Well, without further ado, let's get started here with Series 1.
The field at the SRS Crown Championship was the largest ever seen, boasting 94 dogs, with 38 competing in the amateur division. While making it through Series 1 and Series 2 seemed likely, the competition would undoubtedly thin out as the rounds progressed. Each handler has the same dream, to clinch the coveted crown. Yet as each team walks to the line, all that is on their minds is to just make it through this first series. It's the one thing most will tell you. Just focus on Series 1, take it one series at a time. Series 1 presented an AKC-style hunt test designed to assess the dog's marking and memory abilities. With the judges, the best in the business, scrutinizing each performance, the pressure was palpable. Among the first to take the line was Jason Philasterer from Grand Island, accompanied by his canine companion, Champagne Taste on a Beer Budget, known as Bougie, with only a test dog run to gauge the course. This team had to execute flawlessly to set the standard. Handlers observed closely, eagerly comparing Bougie's run to the judges' scores. One after another, handlers stepped up, aiming to secure a low score and maintain their position atop the leaderboard. Ron Anderson, a seasoned amateur and last year's Crown champion, entered the fray with his trusted partner, Feliciana. Go big or go home, or rip. The 4-year-old Black Labrador had a proven track record of success and was hailed as the most watched dog of the year by his peers. Ron is determined to defend their crown title for another year. Another noteworthy contender was John Lamar and his companion, Razor's Easy Smoking Gun, fondly known as Smokey. This year's Eukanuba Team of the Year winners, Smokey boasted an impressive resume, including SRS Open and Amateur titles, as well as an SRS University title. For newcomers like Leah Spivey, the heightened stakes of the Crown Championship added an extra layer of nerves. With her dog, Murky Creek's insane hurricane called Kane, being her sole qualified teammate, Leah faced the daunting task of delivering an A performance. Lane Blanchett's leap into the fray to pursue a bid for the crown in 2023 was a testament to the competitive spirit driving the event.
I dabbled in some SRS events for a couple of years, just ran one or two events and had a little bit of success, some fourth, fifth places. And so this year was the first year that I really chased after being in the crown. Georgia is the most accomplished dog that I have. She's passed the HRC Grand 5 times. She's in the HRC Hall of Fame, qualified all age, and she's done well here today.
And well, she has. We'll be right back. The Super Retriever Series Crown Championship is presented by Eukanuba, fueling canine athletes for over 50 years. Shreveport Bossier Sports Commission. Visit Shreveport Bossier. And Louisiana Tourism. Explore Louisiana. Welcome back to the Super Retriever Series Crown Championship presented by Eukanuba. David Hamilton alongside Rody Best. And Rody, we just watched 38 dogs compete in the first series, and it was a tight competition. Let's take a quick look at our leaderboard. John Lamar is currently in first and second place with his 2 dogs, Smokey and Pine. Then one of our 3 female competitors here in the amateur division, Carol Cato, is currently in third with her dog, Frank. Ernie D'Antoni is in 4th place with Waylon. Caleb and Tim Williams are in 5th, and Cash and Jason Flaster are in 6th. Now, you may also see there at the bottom of the scoreboard, unfortunately, Ernie D'Antoni and former Open champion Bang. We lost them to a disqualification, so we'll have 37 dogs moving into Series 2, Rody.
Yeah, this scoreboard is exactly what you want to see as a competitor, which is separation. The dogs that are peaking in their performance are really starting to pull away. But we still have a long ways to go.
That we do, and as we're getting set up here for Series 2, look at this beautiful drone footage here shot by none other than one of our live analysts, Mr. Pat Burns from Elite Retrievers, and this is just a great view of the property there all week in Shreveport at the WK Palmetto Event Center and other spaces. We had great grounds for competitions as we see the gunners here practicing their throws, getting ready for Series 2. Rody, just tell us a little bit about why these guys are standing out there in their white coats.
Well, we're going to increase the distances the dogs are going to be required to go in this test. So in order for the dog to see the throw, throwers are in white.
So Rody, how about you tell us what we're looking at here in this field trial competition?
The second series of the 2023 Crown Championship is a field trial type scenario. Once the handler and dog reaches the mat, they have 10 seconds to start the test. Mark 1 is thrown at 261 yards from right to left. Mark 2 is thrown from 199 yards left to right. And Mark 3 is a simulated flyer thrown from right to left at 139 yards. This is a designated go bird, which means the dog must pick this bird up first. Once that is done, the other 2 marks retire, which means they hide from sight, and the dog must pick up the remaining 2 marks in the field. There is a visible gun station in the field behind mark number 2 that remains in the field that is a distraction.
Well, that's a heck of a test. You'd expect nothing less here at the Crown Championship. Let's see how these dogs fared in Series 2.
Series 2 welcomed 37 teams back to the line. The first 2 teams to the line grappled with the challenge and did not complete the test, leading to Mark Carter and his teammates stepping forward, Bayou Tesh Clergyman, or Padre, a 5-year-old black lab. Leaving the holding blind, Mark has only 10 seconds before the first bird is thrown. With a score of 280 from the first series, they'll have to excel and achieve a solid score to make up ground. Casey Parker giving the traditional kiss on the nose and a whisper of, "You got this," in 10-year-old Bailey Louise's ear, brings her to the line. This seasoned amateur team has had their SRS debut when Bailey was just 2 years old. Bailey consistently gives her all with a drive and effort always at 100%. Casey walks away with a sense of satisfaction. Carol Cato, one of 3 female handlers in the amateur field, steps to the line with her dog, Dude's Big Black Frank. Carrying a Series 1 score of 34, Carol exudes confidence as Frank displays a keen sense of the bird's locations. Despite a hiccup on Mark 1, Carol's precise cast guides Frank straight to the bird. And as the final dog to run Series 2 departs from the line, the field is now narrowed down to 37 teams in the journey to the quarterfinal round of 18 teams.
We thought Series 2 would be a tough test, and it definitely was, so let's take a look here at the leaderboard. Waylon and Ernie D'Antoni are leading us now after 2 series. Bailey and Casey Parker in second. John Lamar and Smokey are in third. Carol Cato and Frank in fourth, and Lan Blanchette and Georgia in fifth. But it's anybody's game, and when we come back, we'll be headed to the quarterfinals, Series 3. Welcome back to the Super Retriever Series Crown Championship presented by Eukanuba. And Rody, we've made it through 2 series, and now we're cutting the field from 38 amateur teams to 18.
Yeah, things are starting to get a little more serious now as the handlers feel the pressure as cuts are coming up. You know, we've got cut from 18, and we're going to have another cut at 12 now. And we've seen marking ability in this next series. We're going to see if the dog can be under control.
And Series 3 is a hunt savvy test, so tell us a little bit about the layout and what these judges are going to be looking for.
So when the handler comes to line, he'll place his dog on a mat and walk away from his dog and grab the gun and load 3 shells. The dog will be remote from its handler, meaning not next to his side, and must watch the field as the handler loads his gun and shoots 3 times. Once at bird 1 after he blows his duck call, and Mark 1 is thrown from left to right at 50 yards, and it's a flasher thrown along the shoreline there. Mark 2 will be at 125 yards, thrown from left to right also, and it is pulled back to the blind, but a bird is still left on that point. But these birds are poison. The dog must not pick these birds up first. They must run blind 1 to the left at 212 yards, come back from that one, then run blind 2 at 183 yards. If the dog picks up either of these poison birds, they are disqualified.
This test looks challenging. Let's take a look how they fared.
Not just control, but also challenging, difficult or demanding, requiring effort and skill to overcome. Exactly what our 3 judges are looking for. The handlers' nerves are overwhelming as they approach the line, facing a test with multiple factors, keeping them on edge. Brian Broussard and Daisy are the first team to step forward. Brian has 2 opportunities to complete the test, one with Huck and the other with Daisy, his youngest dog at 3 years old. Daisy performs admirably on her first blind run as she prepares for the poison bird, shining bright and ominous. The handler is trying to think ahead of the numerous challenges to overcome. The determination to succeed and progress forward is clearly felt as Brian and Daisy make it through Series 3. With the poison bird poised as the suspenseful moment for the crowd, each team strives to pass it, aiming to secure the lowest score to advance. Mike Gibson and his dog Blaze, also a youngster, come to the 3rd series with promising chances to make the cut. Blaze, a 4-year-old yellow lab, gets a beautiful initial line to the blind, but Mike and the audience are on the edge as this team approaches the required point on the way to the blind.
This is looking a lot like Lottie. Okay, let's see if he did. This is where you...
Despite a brief tug-of-war, Blaze ultimately prevails. Ron Anderson and Rip are watched intensely by the crowd as Ron is determined to repeat Rip's SRS Crown Championship title. Ron and Rip line up. They surpass the first point. Ron is intent on keeping Rip in line to the blind.
Keeping the whistle in his mouth on the silent broadcast. The first bump over that he stopped him, because it's not so much where he is on line. You got to change his intent.
Yep.
Holy no!
Yep.
Get this rip.
Give him a big back.
Over.
Oh my God.
Oh, darn it!
That's heartbreaking.
That is heartbreaking.
Yeah. Well,
Man.
you remember the wide world of sports.
That's right.
That's the agony of defeat right there.
As the third series comes to an end, it's important to remember that any dog can have its day in the field. Even those we anticipated to excel might just have an off day, leaving an opportunity for other teams to step up and shine.
I think Ron's face says it all there. There was some agony for some of these competitors in that round. In fact, 4 different teams unfortunately picked up the poison bird, eliminating themselves. So I think Pat Burns was right. We all remember the thrill of the victory and the agony of the defeat. But coming up in Series 4, we're going to see who can move on.
I don't like having that tagged on my back of being in first place the whole time. I like just barely making the cut, staying in the middle of the pack and doing what we got to do each series to make it to the end, and hope we're number 1.
The Super Retriever Series Crown Championship is presented by Eukanuba, fueling canine athletes for over 50 years, and by Thor Boats, Lucky Duck Kennels, Splash Super Pools, and the United Kennel Club. Welcome back to the 2023 Super Retriever Series Crown Championship presented by Eukanuba. I'm David Hamilton alongside Rody Best. And Rody, we have made it through 3 series, about to head here in the semifinals, and after that, we'll cut the field down to the final 6 that compete for a Crown Championship. Let's take a quick look here at our scoreboard. These are the 12 teams that will be competing here in Series 4. Let us know about the test that they'll be tackling here today.
And Series 4 is a hybrid series, which means we're going to see both a field trial mark and 2 HRC style marks. The handler can show the dog the Mark 1, which is 359 yards way out there. The dog and handler must sit down, load 2 shells, and now we're going to do an HRC style test where the handler and dog shoot from the line. The dog must watch these marks. Mark 1 is thrown from the left at 139 yards, and it's a flasher. And then the swing to the right, the designated go bird, Mark 2, thrown from left to right also, but it's a mallard. It's a little more difficult to see. It's thrown at 132 yards. The dog must pick this bird up first.
Well,
in the semifinal round, the 12 teams take their positions. The team with the highest score running first, and represented by John Melisovis and his canine partner, Henry IX. This team steps forward to the line to watch the only shot of the field across the lake. As they sit down to prepare to shoot the next 2 birds, John signals Henry to retrieve the middle bird, designated as the go bird. On the long bird, the brief moment of disappearance that each handler will have to face gives concern when Henry momentarily disappears from sight, yet he soon reappears to the right of the bird, executing a successful hunt, and makes the retrieve. 4-time Crown champion Mike Gibson now making another attempt for a Crown title, and this time with Spring River Wildfire, Blaze, in the 10th place position. Blaze makes a stellar performance to move up considerably. With more teams to run, time will tell. Ernie D'Antoni and Ransom's Rambling Man, or Waylon. This is Waylon's first year competing in the SRS and has done it really well. Ernie feels the pressure with the immediate handle on the go bird. Coming into this series in 3rd place, Ernie gives a sigh of relief when Waylon makes the final retrieve on the long bird. Currently in 2nd place, and no stranger to the crown, Stuart Williams and new partner this year, Lake Effect Retrievers Texas, call name Tex, makes sure he plays this series safe to move on. John Lamar enters the 4th series with 3 bullets remaining. Pine, Katie, and Eukanuba Team of the Year, Smokey. Smokey loves the game and loves John. Will the advantage of having 3 trips to the line gain an edge to propel 1 or more teammates forward? We will soon find out.
Well, there you have it, Rody. We have set the field for our finals. We know which 6 dog and handler teams will compete in the amateur finals as we take a look here at the scoreboard. Stuart Williams and Tex will lead us into Series 5. John Lamar and Smokey are in 2nd. Jason Flaster and his dog Cash are in 3rd. Ernie D'Antoni and Waylon in 4th. Now Mike Gibson and Blaze made a big jump, now sit in 5th, and then Brian Broussard and Huck are in 6th. It's anyone's game. Next week, we'll find out which one of these dog and handler teams wins the Crown Championship, and we'll even have the winner right here on set with us. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.